Over the years, our family's had its share of health problems.
So prescriptions are a part of our life.
Before we went to the big box store.
We both thought it would help us save. But with the long lines and impersonal service, filling prescriptions became a chore. That's when a friend recommended D&H.
Now Tristan knows our prescriptions. Brenda always helps us find the right vitamins. And after Dad's fall, Monica's been a real expert with all our home medical needs. All without the lines.
Trust and service.
That's our D&H.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, April the 23rd. And I have one very interesting guest today. I could sit down and talk to this guy for hours and not become bored. Jack Schultz, good to have you here.
Good to be here,
From
Paul.
the Life Science Center. And when he came in today, he said, I would like to talk about talking about science. I said, what do you mean?
Well, I mean that scientists complain that people don't understand them. And you can come up with all kinds of great stories. Most people don't know what causes the seasons, for example. And a surprising number of people don't really understand or know how long it takes the Earth to go around the sun. Very fundamental.
No.
Oh, yeah. The number there is between 30 and 40%. If you
30
ask,
and 40% of the people do not know how long it takes the Earth to go around the sun.
Right.
And do not know what causes the seasons.
That's right. And actually, that number is larger, yeah. So it's easy for scientists to complain that the public is disinterested or uninformed, but whose job is it to inform them? If scientists don't, get in there and try to explain themselves, I think, science won't have the impact that it's had, for decades. I mean, everything we look at around us, started off with scientific discoveries. And if the public starts to feel that science isn't very important, those discoveries are going to slow down because the public pays for science. Mm-hmm. So we at the Bond Life Sciences Center think it's critical for the people who pay for science, taxpayers, to understand what we're doing and why. And in order to do that, we have to speak English.
Okay. Do you feel like you're making progress in talking to scientists about speaking in terms that everyday people can understand?
The picture there is mixed. Older scientists haven't really gotten this message very well. And the reason is easy to understand. They haven't had to do this to be successful in their careers. Younger scientists are picking up the message, and a survey that just came out this morning from the AAAS, which is the world's largest scientific society, found that only about a quarter of older scientists think it's really important to explain themselves to the public, but about 35 to 38% of younger scientists do. So that's still not good enough. I mean, only, a third of scientists, even young scientists, think that's really important to do.
Let's go back to your figure that you came up here is 30 to 35% of the people don't know how long it takes the Earth to travel. That's not the fault of scientists to that.
Well, I mean, they're the ones who know what it is.
But isn't that something that we should be interested in, or that we learned in grade school?
Yeah, I know. Well, science communication starts in kindergarten, and it continues to this morning on your show.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So, and that's why I come here, because I have the opportunity to try to translate some of this stuff so that people see how interesting and important it is. And people like you play a very important role in that.
Let's talk about global warming. Mm-hmm. Some people call it the global warming hoax.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that there is a certain segment of the population does not believe that we actually have global warming?
I think there are two big reasons. One is, it's a slow thing. It's hard to observe close up. So, we're talking about things that will change what seems like a small amount over a long period of time. And, there's an old expression that man is the measure of all things. What that means is we tend to measure things in our own terms, including our own lifetime. Climate change probably is not going to affect you and me during our lifetime very much. It'll take much longer, and people just have a hard time understanding that.
But you told me that the Missouri Botanical Garden has changed recommendations for what we plant in our yards now from what it was 10 years ago because of the climate change.
It is happening fast enough to cause those things, to change. The second reason people are having trouble with it, I think, is that it's uncomfortable, unpleasant, and people tend to shy away from trying to understand things that they find uncomfortable and unpleasant. Psychological research actually shows that people pay much more attention to things that they see in a positive light than in a negative light. I think what's going to happen here is that the economics that come into play as the climate changes will eventually make the difference, because as it costs more to do things because of the climate, as insurance rates change because of the climate.
You said the insurance companies are already taking that into consideration.
That's right. And when you see even petroleum companies, they're investing more and more in alternative fuels or alternative energy sources because they're wise about business, and they look down the long time tunnel here and see that things are changing in a way that means they're going to have to change to stay in business. And in our society, that's often what makes things change, is business and economics.
Right. Money.
Money
is what.
Money.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. Do you think at one point the majority of the people are going to come on board and say, we have to do something to help our Earth? And if they do, are we too far along to make a difference? Have we passed the tipping point?
Yeah, I think the majority of society, or at least enough of our society to make a difference or to have influence, will eventually realize what's happening. The question about being too late is a really tough one. A lot of scientists are really worried that it's already too late. Because, as you start to warm up a pot of water or something, even if you take it off the heat, it will continue to warm a little bit after you've taken it off the heat. And that's sort of what the globe is going to do too. Even if you stopped, carbon emissions and so forth, all of a sudden, it would take quite a while for the Earth to return to its original state, if it can. So people are really worried that it's awfully late, if not too late.
Okay. If people want more information on this, how can they go about finding out with the Life Science Center?
Well, we have a website. We address lots of different issues. If people want to email me at schultzjc@missouri.edu, I'm happy to try to answer questions or direct them to experts on this particular topic or any topic. We are a state agency and happy to help keep the public informed.
Yeah. Oh, you're a very interesting man to talk to.
Thank you.
You have a wealth of information to share with us, and I do hope, first of all, I appreciate you coming on Radio Friends.
Oh, it's great.
And I hope that you will come back again and chat about anything that deals with science.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Jack. It's a pleasure having you here.
Paul.
Life Science Center. Tomorrow, Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri. Our program is directed by Travis McMillan, Reynolds Journalism Institute. Audio is Pat Akers from KBIA. Our floor director is Lowell Thomas, and our assistant producer and guest coordinator, Uncle James Mauser. And if there is something that you would like to hear or see, I would really like to hear from you. Drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu. And have yourself a good morning. If you're going to be out, be careful driving around. Bye-bye.